One of the challenges of the virtual lockdown that we've been trying to implement in these past weeks has been that we're thrown back more and more onto our own resources. For me, a frustrating example of this has been dealing with my computer. My ordained ministry began in the days of carbon paper. You remember? As a curate, I had to turn the handle on the Roneo machine to produce the weekly parish news sheet. By the time I retired from Chichester Cathedral, the computer was king. Emails had become the norm, and some of my deepest thoughts were stored in different ways on hundreds of files. Last week, I wanted to look up a half-remembered quotation from a particular sermon, but could I find it? I tried everything: the name of the church, the Sunday in the church's year when I preached it, 2 or 3 key words, all without success. I was afraid I'd lost my words of wisdom forever. As a last resort, I called an expert friend, who I call my computer guru, and told him the problem. "Don't worry," he said, "it'll be in the cloud." To cut a long story short, Gary managed to find the missing text. As it turned out, the half-remembered quotation was no good to me anyway, and that's beside the point. Gary attempted to explain the mysteries of the cloud as the place, is it a place, where all my information is stored and kept safe. By chance, was it chance? Later that day, I was reading chapter 40 of the book of Exodus. In verses 34 and 35, it describes the cloud as the symbol of God's presence. The cloud covered the tent of meeting, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. Moses was unable to enter the tent of meeting because the cloud had settled on it, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. In the Bible, the cloud is often the symbol of the divine presence. For Moses on Mount Sinai, as we heard, and for the disciples of Jesus on the Mountain of Transfiguration. There are many other examples too. The glory of the Lord is the sign of future promise. Moses was not able to enter the presence of the Lord, but he was in no doubt that the cloud, indicating God's presence, would lead him and his people through the wilderness to the promised land. By night it continued to guide them as a pillar of fire. Moses felt painfully inadequate for the task of leadership, but God's invitations are always greater and fuller and richer than any response we can make. The cloud was always in front of the people, drawing them onward. The spiritual writer, St. Bernard of Clairvaux in the 12th century, used to remind the monks in his monastery that even before they had arrived in the chapel for their prayers in the early hours, God was there before them, waiting to welcome them, always attentive to their needs. God's secrets and our own will be revealed to us if we approach God in faith, with reverence and expectation, yes, and wonder. O worship the Lord in the beauty of holiness. Kneel and adore him. The Lord is his name. So thanks to Gary, my computer guru, for leading me to the mysteries of the cloud, and for reminding me that God's glory can be revealed in the most unlikely and unexpected ways.